The Deep Space Monitoring Station hung silently in Earth's orbit, its arrays of sensors constantly scanning the vast emptiness of space. Inside the station, Commander James Walker stood with his hands clasped behind his back, staring at the main display screen. Something wasn't right. "Dr. Reed, could you look at these readings again?" He called out to his chief scientist. "There's a pattern here that keeps repeating." Anna Reed pushed away from her workstation and floated across the room in the zero-gravity environment. Her dark hair was tied back in a simple ponytail, and her eyes showed the tiredness of someone who had been staring at screens for too long. "What kind of pattern?" she asked, grabbing a handlebar to stop herself next to Walker. "Look at these energy spikes." Walker pointed to several spots on the screen. "They appear random at first, but they're happening in exactly the same sequence every 6 hours. Reed's eyes narrowed as she studied the data. After 20 years of watching empty space, she had learned that nothing was truly random. Natural phenomena never repeated with such precision. "Computer, overlay the last 3 days of readings," she commanded. The screen filled with new data points, and both of them saw it clearly now. What looked like empty space was actually full of movement. "They're ships," Walker whispered. "Cloaked vessels, dozens of them, maybe hundreds." Reed nodded slowly. "And they're watching us." The discovery set off a chain of quiet but urgent actions. Walker sent the encrypted data to Earth's Unified Defense Council, while Reed began analyzing the energy signatures to determine the ship's capabilities. Within hours, the station's crew had confirmed the presence of at least 300 alien vessels, all using advanced cloaking technology to hide their presence. They were positioned in a wide arc around Earth's solar system, like hunters surrounding their prey. But humanity wasn't the same easy target it had been decades ago. In the Council's underground chamber in Geneva, military leaders from around the world gathered to discuss the situation. The room was simple but secure, with stark white walls and a large circular table. The mood was tense but controlled. "The aliens clearly think they're being clever," Admiral Grant said, his voice steady as he addressed the council. "They don't realize we've been able to detect cloaked ships ever since the First Contact War." The room's central hologram showed the positions of the alien vessels. Red dots marked their locations, forming a pattern that any military strategist would recognize as a prelude to invasion. "Should we begin evacuation procedures?" one of the council members asked. Grant shook his head. "No. We maintain normal operations. Let them think we're blind to their presence." He turned to face the others. "Meanwhile, we activate the Aegis Protocol." The name sent a ripple of murmurs through the room. The Aegis Protocol was humanity's insurance policy, developed in secret after they'd barely survived their first encounter with hostile aliens 15 years ago. Never again would Earth be caught unprepared. Back on the monitoring station, Walker and Reed continued their analysis. The alien ships were impressive, using technology that would have been impossible for humans to detect in the past. But humanity had learned from its mistakes. "Their cloaking technology is good," Reed noted, "but they're leaving quantum distortion traces. They probably don't even know these signatures exist." Walker smiled slightly. "Because they still think we're a primitive species that barely made it to our own moon. The aliens' arrogance would be their weakness. While they thought they were secretly observing a vulnerable planet, humanity's hidden defenses were quietly coming online throughout the solar system." Deep beneath the Martian surface, automated factories hummed to life. In the clouds of Venus, cloaked platforms began charging their energy banks. And in the depths of Europa's oceans, quantum sensors tracked every movement of the alien fleet. Earth had learned its lesson well. Peace was preferable, but preparedness was essential. As the day shifted to night across Earth's surface, most of its inhabitants went about their lives, unaware of the watchers in the sky. But in secure facilities around the world, humanity's guardians began their work. The aliens thought they were hunting prey, not realizing they had stumbled into the lair of a far more dangerous predator. Walker looked out the station's window at the seemingly empty space. "Send a message to command," he told Reed. Tell them it's time to show our visitors that we've grown up. The game of hide and seek was about to end, and humanity was ready to step out of the shadows. The first signal came at midnight GMT. Dr. Reed was alone in the monitoring station's communication lab when her systems picked up the transmission. It wasn't meant for human ears. The aliens were talking among themselves. "Commander Walker," she called through the intercom, her voice tight with excitement. "You need to see this." Walker arrived minutes later, his uniform wrinkled from a too-short rest period. "What have you found?" Reed's fingers flew across her keyboard as she brought up the decoded signal. "They're using a quantum-based communication system, but they're not being careful. They think we can't possibly intercept or understand their transmissions." The alien language filled the screens, complex patterns of light and energy that would have seemed like random noise to most observers. But Reed had spent years studying alien communication methods after the First Contact War. "They call themselves the Collective," she explained, pointing to recurring patterns in the data. "And they're laughing at us." Walker leaned closer to the screen. "Can you translate more?" Reed nodded, her face growing darker as she worked. "They're discussing their plans. Listen to this part. The primitive species shows no sign of detecting our presence. Their technology remains confined to their planetary system, and their military capabilities are negligible." Walker's jaw tightened. "What else?" "They're planning to guide us," Reed continued, her voice filled with quiet anger. "But their internal communications reveal their true intentions. They want our resources, our planet. They think we'll be an easy conquest." The commander straightened up, his expression grim. "Send everything to Geneva. The Council needs to see this." In the Council chamber, Admiral Grant stood before the assembled leaders. The translated alien messages played on screens around the room, each revelation adding to the tension. "The Collective has done this before," Grant explained. "They find what they consider lesser species, pretend to come in peace, then take whatever they want. They believe their technological superiority gives them the right." "But they don't know about our advances?" asked one of the council members. Grant shook his head. "No. After the First Contact War, we learned to keep our true capabilities hidden. Our public technology is just a facade. Everything important happens underground, underwater, or behind dimensional shields." The council members exchanged looks. They had all supported the policy of secret advancement, but now they would see if it had been worth the effort and resources. "What do you propose?" asked the council president. Grant's answer was simple. "We send them a message." Back on the station, Reed and Walker prepared the transmission. They would broadcast it on the Collective's own communication channels, using their own quantum-based technology. "The message is ready," Reed announced, "broadcasting in their language, using their encryption. They won't be able to deny receiving it." Walker nodded. "Send it." Across the vast distance of space, the message traveled to every cloaked ship in the Collective's fleet. In their own language, they received humanity's response to their presence. "To the species calling itself the Collective, we have detected your presence. We have decoded your communications. We understand your intentions. You believe you have found another primitive species to conquer. You are mistaken. We have faced your kind before. We have fought. We have survived. We have learned. We have advanced far beyond what we show to the galaxy. This is not a plea for mercy or peace. This is a warning. Observe our system more closely. See what you have missed. Then make your choice. Leave in peace or learn why other hostile species have never returned from Earth." In the darkness of space, the Collective's ships received the message. For several long moments, there was complete silence on all channels. Then the cloaked ships began to move, their perfect formation breaking as they processed this unexpected development. Humanity's warning had been delivered. Now they would see how the Collective would respond to the revelation that their prey had teeth. The collected ships hung in space like invisible stars, their perfect formation now broken. Earth's message had hit them harder than any weapon could have. On the monitoring station, Walker and Reed watched the aliens' confused movements with grim satisfaction. "They're sending thousands of messages back and forth," Reed said, her eyes fixed on the incoming data. "Their commanders are arguing about what to do next." Walker smiled slightly. "Time to show them more. Start the data package transmission." Reed nodded and began the next phase of Earth's plan. The transmission carried detailed records of humanity's previous encounters with hostile aliens. It showed battles won, invasions repelled, and the fate of those who had underestimated Earth's strength. In the collective's command ship, the alien leaders received the transmission. Their confidence crumbled as they watched recordings of their own kind, other advanced civilizations, failing to conquer the supposedly primitive humans. The images were clear. Massive alien ships breaking apart under impossible forces, advanced shields failing against weapons that shouldn't exist, and entire fleets retreating in panic from Earth's defenders. "More movement in the fleet," Walker reported. "They're pulling their ships back, creating distance." On Earth, Admiral Grant stood in the control center beneath the Rocky Mountains. The massive underground facility stretched for miles, filled with technology that would have seemed impossible just decades ago. "Begin powering up the defense grid," he ordered. "Slowly. Let them detect it piece by piece." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses stirred to life. On Mars, enormous hangar doors opened in the sides of mountains, revealing rows of sleek warships. In the asteroid belt, weapon platforms emerged from their hiding places in hollow rocks. Near Jupiter, massive energy collectors began to glow with power. The collective sensors detected each new activation. Their internal communications became increasingly frantic as they realized the true extent of Earth's capabilities. "They're scanning everything now," Reed reported, "running deep scans of our whole system." She paused, then added with satisfaction, "They still can't detect our biggest weapons." Walker nodded. The quantum cannons hidden in dimensional pockets around Earth would remain invisible until they were needed. Some secrets were worth keeping until the last moment. A new transmission arrived from the collective, this time directed at Earth. Reed quickly translated it for the command staff. "They're demanding to know how we acquired such advanced technology," she said. "They say it's impossible for a young species to have developed these capabilities so quickly." Grant's response was immediate. "Send them the final warning." Reed began transmitting the message that would make Earth's position absolutely clear. "You believe we advanced too quickly. You are correct. We learned from those who came before you. Every alien species that attacked Earth taught us something new. Your cloaking technology, we defeated it 15 years ago. Your quantum communications, we mastered them after the last invasion. Your weapons, we have better ones now. We did not achieve this through peaceful exploration. We achieved it because others forced us to advance. Every attack made us stronger. Every battle taught us more. We turned your own weapons against you, improved them, and created defenses against them. You see our public face, our simple space stations, our basic satellites, our primitive-looking ships. That is what we choose to show the galaxy. But now you will see what we have become. This is your final warning. Observe the demonstration we are about to give. Then make your decision. Either leave our space immediately, or join the list of species that learned too late why Earth is no longer an easy target." As the message finished transmitting, Grant gave another order. "Power up the Europa defense ring. Let's show them what human ingenuity really looks like." In the frozen oceans of Jupiter's moon, massive engines began to hum. The collective was about to learn that humanity's warnings were not empty threats. They were promises. The collective made their decision. One by one, their ships dropped their cloaking devices, revealing themselves to Earth's sensors. The sight was meant to be intimidating. Over 300 massive warships, each one larger than humanity's biggest space stations. In the monitoring station, Walker watched the display with calm eyes. "They're trying to scare us with size," he said. "Typical." Reed's fingers moved quickly across her console as she analyzed the alien ships. Their technology is impressive, but she smiled slightly. We've seen better. The main screen lit up as the collective's commander began broadcasting on all frequencies. The alien's message was clear and loud, translated instantly by Earth's computers. Primitive humans, your deception and arrogance will not save you. Our fleet has conquered 1,000 worlds. Your hidden weapons mean nothing. Your choice is simple. Surrender now, or we will reduce your cities to ash. Admiral Grant stood in the Mountain Command Center, listening to the threat with an almost bored expression. Around him, military officers from around the world remained calm, some even smiling slightly. They always go for the dramatic threats, Grant said. Activate Phase 1. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, ancient machinery roared to life. In the depths of the Mariana Trench, humanity's first line of defense waited. The aliens would learn that Earth's oceans held more than just water. The collected ships moved closer to Earth, spreading out in an attack formation. Their weapons powered up, energy readings spiking across human sensors. They're preparing to fire, Reed reported. Multiple weapon systems charging. Walker pressed a button on his command console. Time to show them what real weapons look like. From the ocean depths, massive columns of water rose into the sky. The collective's sensors registered confusion. They were detecting no technology, no energy signatures, nothing but moving water. They didn't understand until it was too late. The water columns stretched up through the atmosphere, past the clouds, reaching toward space. Inside each column, protected by quantum fields, Earth's marine defense platforms rose to meet the alien fleet. Platforms in position, Reed announced. Quantum shields at full power. The collective fired their first shots. Bright beams of energy that could have vaporized whole cities. But the water columns caught the attacks, the quantum fields inside them absorbing the energy and redirecting it harmlessly into space. Return fire, Grant ordered. Single platform only. Let's not embarrass them too much. One defense platform, small compared to the alien ships, released a pulse of energy. The beam cut through space, slicing past the collective's shields like they weren't even there. 3 alien ships lost power instantly, their engines dead, their weapons useless. The collective's response was immediate and panicked. More ships decloaked, their entire reserve fleet appearing around the solar system. Over 1,000 warships now surrounded Earth, their weapons charged. Grant's voice remained steady. Phase 2. On Mars, the hidden hangars opened completely. Earth's real fleet emerged, ships that combined human ingenuity with recovered alien technology. They were smaller than the collective's vessels, but far more advanced. The alien commander broadcast again. Your tricks and hidden weapons cannot save you. This is your final chance to surrender. Walker sent Earth's response himself. Look behind you. The collected ships spun around. From the dark side of the moon, from the rings of Saturn, from the asteroid belt, more human ships appeared. Earth's full defense fleet revealed itself, surrounding the aliens who thought they had surrounded Earth. Your move, Walker transmitted to the collective. But choose carefully. Those 3 ships we disabled. We were being gentle. The next demonstration won't be so friendly. In space, the standoff continued. The collected ships hung motionless, their commanders facing a situation they had never expected. A primitive species that had outmaneuvered them completely. Earth waited patiently. The real demonstration of power hadn't even begun. The collective's massive fleet hung in space, surrounded by Earth's revealed forces. In the Mountain Command Center, Admiral Grant watched the tactical display with satisfaction. Everything was going according to plan. Time for the next phase, he said. Show them what we've been building on Europa. Beneath the icy surface of Jupiter's moon, something stirred. The collective's sensors detected a massive energy spike, then another, then dozens more. The ice cracked open, revealing what humanity had hidden there for the past decade. Europa defense ring activating. Reed reported from the monitoring station. All systems green. A ring of orbital platforms rose from Europa's surface, each one bristling with technology that even the collective had never seen before. The platforms formed a perfect circle around the moon, their quantum cores pulsing with barely contained power. The alien commander's next transmission carried a note of uncertainty. What are these devices? Such technology should be beyond your capabilities. Walker's response was calm. We learned from the best. Every species that attacked Earth left behind technology for us to study. We took it all, improved it, and made it our own. Europa is just the beginning. As if to prove his point, the rings of Saturn began to move. What the collective had assumed were natural formations shifted and changed. Hidden within the rings, hundreds of automated defense platforms awakened. They're scanning the rings, Reed reported, watching the alien sensor suites. They're realizing that half of Saturn's rings are artificial. The collected ships began to back away slowly. Their internal communications, still intercepted by Earth's systems, showed growing panic among their commanders. Impossible, they said to each other. Their level of advancement. They've hidden their true capabilities from the entire galaxy. Grant nodded to his communications officer. Show them Mars. The red planet's surface rippled as massive hidden doors opened in its crust. The collective watched in shock as entire sections of Mars's surface moved aside, revealing vast shipyards and weapons platforms. What they had thought was a barely colonized planet was actually a fully militarized fortress world. Their largest ships are powering up weapons, Reed warned. Walker smiled. Perfect. Activate the dimensional shields. Around Earth, the air seemed to ripple. Layers of invisible force fields, operating in multiple dimensions, sprang to life. The planet vanished from normal space, protected by technology that the collective had thought was merely theoretical. To the collective fleet, Grant broadcast, "You see now what humanity has become. We didn't want this. We wanted peaceful exploration, scientific advancement, cultural exchange. But others forced us down this path." The message continued as more of Earth's defenses revealed themselves. Hidden bases on Mercury emerged from under the planet's surface. Pluto's orbit shifted as gravity generators hidden on its surface activated. Every attack taught us something new, Grant's message went on. Every invasion forced us to advance faster, build stronger defenses, create better weapons. We took your technologies, combined them with human ingenuity, and created something new. The collected ships were now completely surrounded. Earth's forces had them trapped between multiple layers of defenses that represented technologies from dozens of alien civilizations, all improved upon by human engineers. Your scans are showing you the truth now, Grant concluded. This is what humanity has become. We don't want war. We don't seek conquest. But we will never be victims again. In space, the collective's fleet remained motionless, their commanders facing a harsh reality. They had come expecting to find an easy target, a primitive species ready for conquest. Instead, they had found something unprecedented. A civilization that had turned its own paranoia into an advantage, hidden its true power from the galaxy, and prepared for every possible threat. The choice was now theirs. But for the first time in their history of conquest, the collective faced an opponent that had not only matched their power, but had far surpassed it. Admiral Grant stood in the command center, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. The time had come to show the collective exactly what they were dealing with, not through words, but through action. "Begin the demonstration," he ordered. "Target their forward command ships. Non-lethal measures only." From Europa's defense ring, a pulse of energy shot through space. It wasn't a weapon beam or a missile. It was something entirely new. The pulse passed through the collective shields like they weren't even there, enveloping their largest ships in a soft blue glow. "What are you doing?" the alien commander demanded, their transmission filled with confusion rather than fear. Walker answered from the monitoring station, "Showing you what real advanced technology looks like." The blue glow intensified. Inside the affected ships, every system began to shut down. Not violently or destructively. The ships simply went quiet, their mighty engines falling silent, their weapons powering down, their artificial gravity failing. Multiple ships disabled, Reed reported. No damage to their hulls or crew, just peaceful silence. The collective's other ships moved to attack positions, their weapons charging. But before they could fire, humanity's next demonstration began. From Saturn's rings, dozens of small objects detached themselves and streaked toward the alien fleet. They weren't missiles or fighters. They were quantum field generators, devices that could alter the very fabric of spacetime. Quantum nets deploying, Walker announced. 3, 2, 1. The small devices activated, creating a web of energy fields around groups of collective ships. Inside these fields, time itself slowed down. The alien vessels moved as if trapped in honey, their weapons firing in slow motion, their engines struggling against forces they couldn't understand. By the ancestors, one of the alien transmissions leaked through. They've weaponized time itself. Grant's voice remained calm as he broadcast to the fleet. This is not an attack. This is education. Your weapons are impressive, but they're centuries behind what humanity has developed. Allow us to demonstrate more. From Mars, a new type of ship launched. Smaller than the collective's vessels, it moved with impossible grace, seeming to bend space around itself. As it approached the alien fleet, it split into multiple copies of itself, perfect duplicates, each one as real as the original. Quantum duplicator drive, Reed explained over the channel. One ship becomes many, each existing in a slightly different reality. Your sensors aren't malfunctioning. They're all real. The collected ships tried to target the duplicates, but their weapons passed harmlessly through space. The human vessels existed in dimensions their targeting systems couldn't even detect. More demonstrations followed. Ships hidden in dimensional pockets appeared throughout their fleet. Weapons that could disable entire squadrons without harming a single crew member. Shields that didn't just stop attacks, but turned them into usable energy. Impossible, the alien commander broadcast. No species could advance this quickly. No civilization could hide such power. Walker's response was firm. We had no choice. The galaxy taught us to be ready for anything. Every ship you see, every weapon we demonstrate, was built because someone like you thought Earth would be an easy target. The demonstrations continued. Earth's forces showed abilities that the collective had thought were merely theoretical. Gravity control, dimensional shifting, quantum entanglement weapons. Humanity had mastered them all. Your ships are disabled but undamaged, Grant broadcast. Your crews are safe. In 15 minutes, all systems will restore themselves. Consider this a sample of our capabilities. We could have chosen a more aggressive demonstration. In space, the collective's mighty fleet floated helplessly, surrounded by technology they barely understood. Their sensors told them an impossible truth. This supposedly primitive species had somehow surpassed them in nearly every way. Grant's final message was simple. The choice is yours now. But remember, what you've seen today is less than 1% of Earth's true capabilities. Choose wisely. True to Admiral Grant's word, after 15 minutes, the collective's disabled ships hummed back to life. Their systems reactivated smoothly, as if they had merely been paused rather than shut down. The alien fleet hung in space, surrounded by humanity's revealed power, facing a decision that would shape their future. In the Mountain Command Center, Grant waited patiently. Behind him, the tactical displays showed the positions of every ship, both human and alien. The collective's fleet was still massive, but size no longer seemed to matter. They're sending a new transmission, Reed reported from the monitoring station, different from their usual pattern. It's a request for dialogue. Walker smiled slightly, finally ready to talk instead of threaten. The alien commander's image appeared on the main screen. Their appearance was imposing, a being of crystalline structures and metallic skin, but their tone had changed completely. "We have witnessed your capabilities," the commander said. "Our analysis suggests we have greatly misunderstood humanity's place in the galaxy." Grant stepped forward. "Your analysis is correct. Humanity learned long ago that showing our full strength would only invite challenge. So we hid it, advanced in secret, and prepared for the day when we would need to reveal ourselves." The alien commander's crystalline features shifted in what might have been surprise. "Your species chose to appear weak when you were strong. This is unprecedented. We chose to appear normal," Walker corrected. "We showed the galaxy what they expected to see, a young species learning to explore space. Meanwhile, we took every piece of technology left behind by would-be invaders and made it better." On the tactical display, the collected ships began to move, not to attack positions, but drawing back, creating respectful distance. "Your defensive capabilities exceed our predictions by several orders of magnitude," the commander admitted. "Our invasion plans are clearly obsolete." Reed's console beeped with new data. "They're powering down weapons across their entire fleet," she reported. "And they're sending us technical data about their ships. It appears to be a gesture of good faith." Grant nodded. "Then let us make one in return." He pressed a control on his console, and new data began streaming to the collected ships. "These are the specifications of our quantum field generators, the ones we just used to disable your vessels. Consider it a demonstration of trust." The alien commander studied the data, their crystalline features reflecting surprise. "This technology, you've solved problems our scientists thought impossible." "How?" "Human ingenuity," Walker explained. "When you combine technologies from a dozen different alien species with humanity's drive to survive, amazing things happen. We recognize now that conquest would be impossible," the commander said. "But perhaps there is another path forward." Grant smiled. "That's what we hoped you would say. Humanity doesn't want enemies. We've had enough of those. What we want are allies who understand us, who know our strength but respect our desire for peace." The tactical display updated as the collected ships began to retreat further, forming a non-threatening pattern far from Earth's defense grid. "We propose a diplomatic exchange," the commander offered, "not as conqueror and conquered, but as equals, perhaps as future allies." "A wise choice," Grant replied. "Earth's ports will be open to peaceful vessels of the collective. We have much to learn from each other." As the tension of potential conflict faded, humanity's defensive systems powered down but remained ready. The quantum fields disappeared, the dimensional shields settled into standby, and the massive weapons platforms returned to their hidden positions. The galaxy would soon learn of this encounter, of how the mighty collective met a species that had turned preparation into an art form, paranoia into progress, and the threat of invasion into the foundation for unprecedented advancement. Earth's final warning had been delivered and understood. Humanity had revealed itself not as a primitive civilization crying out to be conquered, but as a sleeping giant that had one simple message for the galaxy: "We are ready. We are waiting. And we come in peace, unless you force us to do otherwise."